couple minutes. So in this couple minutes, I want to do one thing and try and evangelize why I think fighting games are super important. And by the end of this talk, hopefully in the next couple minutes, have you feel the same thing. I've been playing around with this idea of reframing how we talk about fighting games. I think they're so much more special than just playing games and button mashing. I think that fighting games should be considered virtual martial arts. And let me see if I can convince you as well. But first off, next slide, just a quick brief introduction about who I am. So I actually am proudly an alumni of UBC. I actually started the Smash Bros department here on campus back in 2015. From 2015 to 2019, I passionately helped build this club. It means a lot to me, so happy to be back here today as a sponsor. I did the Bucks program, so if there's any Bucks students in the room, shout outs to Bucks. Graduated in 2019, worked as a software engineer for a couple years, and then 2 years ago, I quit my job as an engineer to pursue my passion. These days, I run a company called Gallant Gaming. We're an esports event production company based here in Vancouver, but we run fighting game tournaments all around the world. Most notably, we run Battle of BC, which throughout this whole presentation and whole day, I'll be plugging. You can hear more about Battle of BC at our booth back there, but next slide. Okay, picture this. The Olympics committee comes to you and says, hey, we want you to create a brand new sport, virtual martial arts. Now think about that for a second. What would you even do? Where would you even start? Next slide, please. One more. Would you think about, hey, let's make virtual boxing, and this is what you end up coming up with? You come up with Wii boxing, next slide. Or you come up with virtual karate. Do we want to just take karate and make that digital? Next slide. Or virtual MMA. Is this what you guys want when you think of fighting games or combat sports? No, you go to the next slide. This is what virtual martial arts would look like if you ask me. We've got Street Fighter, Tekken, and Smash Bros. Melee. These games, I think, next slide, already capture the essence of what combat sports entail. They're intense one-on-one games that combat two humans head-to-head directly against one another without very many random variables or other things. It really is a test of skill and a competition of strength, skills, thinking, and execution between two head-to-head humans. I think that they also have a lot of skill overlaps with traditional combat sports. So next slide. Sorry, that last thing there was that psychological warfare. If you don't know what a fighting game is like, the best way to describe it is like rock, paper, scissors, but instead of only 3 options, rock, paper, or scissors, there's a million different options. And half of the game is learning about the different options you and your opponent have at any given time. So in a fight, are you trying to think, is he going to swing on me? Is he going to defend? Is he going to block? Is he going to dodge? The same things apply to traditional fighting games. So a bunch of the skills really do overlap between fighting games and combat sports. And actually, I know a ton of people who are both top-level combat sports athletes competing in things like Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, and in traditional fighting games as well. Reaction times, execution, nerve controls. Imagine how you feel when you're on a stage with an audience behind you and you're trying to push the right buttons. Honestly, your fingers can entirely freeze up, and fight or flight reactions are totally triggered when playing fighting games as well. Strategy, pattern recognition, mental conditioning, reads, all sorts of overlapping skills apply between both combat sports and fighting games. Next slide, please. But I'd say that fighting games actually have a couple of things that I think they do even better than combat sports. At the end of a boxing match, what is the result of one of the boxers? You're both beat up, battered, bruised. Honestly, in traditional combat sports, there's even fatal injuries that happen. So it's a really scary thing to actually physically fight someone. Imagine at the end of every fight, you could just go nonstop into the next fight. I'd say that fighting games manage to stimulate that. Traditional combat sports, blah, blah, blah. What's that? Oh yeah, not blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm not practicing this one anymore. One of the other things is the accessibility of fighting games. Combat sports require a lot of things that people simply cannot control. Your height, your strength, your genetic disposition. Whereas fighting games are open to anybody. I think that's actually one of the most beautiful parts about the fighting game genre is just how easy it is, especially in 2026, to start playing fighting games. Some of the best fighting games in the world are free to play, and you can play them on your keyboard. So anybody can get into fighting games in this day and age. And I think that's reflected in the community that we've built. The fighting game community is an incredibly diverse place where anybody is welcome, regardless of any of those many variables that can factor in here, and your skill level, most importantly. Next slide. Just a quick example here, Broly Legs, RIP. This Broly Legs was a top 50 Street Fighter player in his day and age. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but he could not play with his hands. He played entirely with his face, and he was cooking kids, so it was crazy. So, next slide. Why this all matters. So I think that fighting games are truly special and unlike most other esports. One of the main reasons is because fighting games are largely promoting in-person events. Almost every night of the week, somewhere in the Lower Mainland, and once a week here on UBC's campus, there's a fighting game tournament. In this day and age, there's a significant lack of third places and community spaces for people. So the fighting game community offers an entryway for you to come, hang out, make friends, but also focus on self-improvement, self-growth. The skills that I learned in getting good at Super Smash Bros. Melee have allowed me to get good at so many other things in my life. It truly does translate over. And so practicing the discipline, mastery, and self-development that comes with learning a fighting game, it really will help you in other areas of your life. Plus, you'll even make some friends doing it. Fighting games are also really easy to watch relative to other esports. If you're watching Overwatch, there's a million particle effects going on. No offense to Overwatch, by the way, but it can be hard to watch esports traditionally. But fighting games are very straightforward. This person, head to head, here's a life bar, here's a life bar. You can really easily tell who's winning and what's going on in fighting games. So that's really important because as a player and a spectator, it makes it so you can appreciate the skill of these players even more. When some crazy Super Smash Bros. Player hits an insane combo, you can tell just how much skill he's expressing. The last statement I have on here is that Melee is like jazz. This is a statement that goes around a lot. What I mean by this is fighting games allow players to express themselves in such unique ways. The game offers a sandbox where pretty much anything you can imagine, you can execute in the game. So every player has their own personality on the stage, and again, fighting games just allow people to express themselves on the screen in a new environment. Next slide, please. All right, so where to start? So I highly, highly encourage you all to get into trying a fighting game. I know a lot of people are intimidated by even wanting to try it. The best time to give it a try is now. So start off by picking a game. Some games I recommend, Smash Bros. Melee, 2XKO. If you like League of Legends or Arcane, 2XKO is a brand new free-to-play fighting game that has the League of Legends cast in it and is available on every platform. So I highly recommend that you start with that. Play with your friends. I think that's always one of the most fun parts, is that even if you're both bad at the game, as long as you're having like a similar skill level, you're gonna have a fun time. It's even fun to lose in fighting games. I assure you, you can have a great time. Watch top players. There's tons of footage on YouTube of amazing historical level matches that even if you don't really know the game, you'll have a fun time watching and you'll feel the hype. Attend local tournaments. This is the biggest one. As I said, UBC has a weekly tournament. There's tons of tournaments, and next slide is the last one here, which is me at Shilling my tournament. So Battle of BC is taking place June 5th to 7th at the Vancouver Convention Center. It's our 10-year anniversary. I started Battle of BC as a first-year student right here at UBC. Took place in the old Student Union building, which is now the Life building. It's now Canada's premier fighting game event. We went from a 400-person one-day event to now over 2,500 attendees from over 20 different countries playing 6 different main fighting games. And you don't have to be a fighting game player to attend Battle of BC and have a great time. It's truly fun for all skill levels and all backgrounds. There's Artist Alley with over 40 different exhibitors, tons of programming, a rock, paper, scissors tournament, a boat cruise after party. Honestly, if you're here having a good time at the Gaming Expo, you'll have a great time at Battle of BC, so I'd love to personally invite everybody here to drop by. And for today only, we're offering buy one, get one spectator passes at our booth. So come by, say hello, learn about the event, and learn about fighting games. Okay, I talked really fast. That's everything. Hope you enjoyed and learned something about fighting games. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day, everyone.